Hello everyone, my name is Deborah Paton and I'm Connectivity Plan Group Manager at Glasgow City Council. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about work in Glasgow on a just transition to a net zero future and the role of transport and technology. Transport policy in Glasgow is made up of a number of related documents. It starts at a spatial level in the City Development Plan, is part of the Glasgow Climate Plan, which sets out our goal of a net zero city by 2030, and is core to a series of new transport plans and strategies currently in development. This includes the Glasgow Transport Strategy, which I'm working on, the new Active Travel Plan, which builds on our existing strategic plan for cycling, a new Livable Neighbourhoods Plan, and a new City Centre Transformation Plan, which builds on existing city centre strategies. Glasgow City Council held a major public and stakeholder engagement on transport in September and October 2020. As well as asking people about transport-related problems they wanted us to tackle, we also proposed a number of policy focus statements to give a sense of direction to our thinking and for people to respond to. Some of these specifically referred to a just transition, as well as better incorporating the Fairer Scotland duty into our decision-making, all of which received strong support. The engagement process itself was strongly influenced by an equality impact assessment screening process, which led us to make particular efforts to engage with specific groups, with the support of Sustrans. Moving forward, we need to translate this support into policy. The Glasgow Transport Strategy Policy Framework for discussion and consultation is being consulted on in October and November 2021. And one of the policies in here directly responds to a just transition. Draft Policy 2.14 says, we'll consider how the Council can support a just transition to a net zero carbon city by 2030 by ensuring policy and investment decisions support those who are already struggling in society. In transport terms, this means focusing particularly on making sustainable transport more affordable to people on low incomes or in poverty, particularly public transport, improving affordable access to bikes and shared mobility options, as well as providing secure cycle storage for parts of the city where residents are less likely to have access to a car, ensuring communities on low incomes in the city are particularly well served by sustainable transport provision, as they are least likely to own a car. We also have a number of policies focused on equal access to the transport system. Finally, one of the four overarching outcomes in the Glasgow Transport Strategy directly references a just transition to a net zero carbon, clean and sustainable city. And these outcomes received strong support during our public engagement in 2020 and have shaped the development of transport policy so far. Moving on to some examples of current innovation in transport and technology in Glasgow, which links to a just transition. The Council has a strong emphasis on data analytics, as well as public interactive mapping. The Council's Strategic Innovation and Technology team are part of the Centre for Civic Innovation Hub based at the Tontine building in Glasgow, a Glasgow City Region City Deal funded project. This team offers in-house analytics to support projects and policies. One of the areas they're working on is making better use of council-held data to improve targeting of policy to tackle child poverty in the city. Another recent example of collaborative and innovative working on data has been work commissioned from the University of Glasgow's Urban Big Data Centre, who have analysed location services datasets from mobile devices in the region and city, providing up-to-date origin-destination matrices on people's movements in 2019, 2020 and 21. This is providing valuable insights into travel demand, particularly in a post-COVID-19 pandemic world, and is informing work currently on the Glasgow Transport Strategy. Trafcom at Eastgate in the city operate our urban traffic control system. One of the innovative ways we can use this system is in supporting reliable bus journey times. We know that certain population groups in the city rely particularly on buses more than others. The BIAS system, Bus Information and Signalling System, supports reliable bus journey times on particular routes in the city by giving late running buses priority at traffic signals through a series of communications, starting with the late running vehicle and ending with the urban traffic control scoot system. As part of a Future Cities demonstrator project, Glasgow installed intelligent street lighting in a number of sites in the city, and this is gradually being developed further. Streetlights are a vital part of every city, providing citizens and business with safety and security. Safety and personal security were raised as issues in our public conversation in 2020, and by some population groups in particular. Glasgow is using intelligent street lighting for control and efficiency of lighting, as well as being able to adapt lighting to how busy an area is or in response to incidents. How we engage with people is core to how we deliver our services, particularly if we take a more collaborative, whole systems approach to policy. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown that we can engage effectively online, though we must have a range of engagement tools to reach diverse audiences. The Council is currently developing a new engagement platform using Esri Hub Premium. This will enable spatial and two-way communications with citizens, businesses and communities. The Council has successfully used online spatial engagement exercises previously, such as our Spaces for People engagement, which used the Commonplace platform. Having our own platform will help us to be consistent with our online engagement, as well as reducing costs, which maximises the efficiency of precious public budgets. The Digital Glasgow strategy was launched in 2018. It sets out our priorities and commitments to developing Glasgow's digital economy and transforming our public services through the use of digital technology. One of the current focus areas in 21-22 is continuing to improve digital inclusion. Achievements to date include 55,000 iPads delivered to all pupils P7 and above, full upgrade of network capacity, all schools to 1 GB, and Wi-Fi provided throughout schools. The goal for these measures was attainment, but it has also helped to reduce digital exclusion, illustrating the co-benefits of public investment. Also through the Scottish Government Connecting Scotland programme, Glasgow Life will have distributed almost 7,000 kit and connectivity packages to the city's most vulnerable households by December of this year, as well as an additional 2,800 iPads for schools, making a significant impact on digital participation in the city. There is also innovative third sector work going on, such as that of Remade, a social economy organisation who focuses on electrical and IT repair and reuse. They're currently recycling old council PCs and laptops and distributing them free or at cost to a range of low-income groups, 1,200 in the last year, as well as creating 12 new jobs and saving over 320 tonnes of CO2. Glasgow City Council and partners deliver a substantial number of initiatives in the city to promote STEM careers to residents, including school children. One such initiative is STEMfest. STEMfest is an annual employability festival hosted by the Council's Education Services in partnership with the Glasgow Science Centre. Pupils are invited from every secondary school in the city to attend a half-day session at the Science Centre, at which they take part in workshops from employers and visit the employers' marketplace, where they can interact with representatives from industry and higher and further education. In 2019, there was also a dedicated Family Day, in which buses were sent to the most deprived areas of the city and transported families to and from the event. On average, more than 1,500 pupils attend the event each year. Linked to this is the STEM Glasgow website, which hosts a STEM Pathways page. This highlights bios from industry professionals working in all areas of STEM. And finally, coming up is the Celebrating Women in STEM event in November as part of the city's wider COP26 programme. The Lord Provost and Education Services have invited 40 senior pupils in Glasgow to a civic reception at Glasgow City Chambers to celebrate girls and women in STEM. Joining schools at the event will be representatives from all Glasgow colleges and universities, as well as industry professionals. The aim of the event is to bring together Glasgow's best and brightest in the STEM sector to celebrate achievements, network, and for pupils to learn about the many opportunities and pathways in the STEM and green energy sector. Moving on to some challenges to continuing to seek a just transition to a net zero future, considering transport and technology. There's a continued need to work together, as complicated governance of transport in Glasgow means that there are many stakeholders involved in each mode of transport. Insufficient revenue funding is a perennial issue for local authorities, and upgrading, future-proofing and maintaining infrastructure all require revenue funding. We need to consider and agree on open standards to ensure we are future-proofing our contracts and services to ensure interoperability for the future. Digital inclusion is vital for transport in the city also, particularly around mobility as a service, accessible information and journey planning information, and access to integrated ticketing. Data poverty in households is also a real issue that needs to be tackled. That is the cost of digital connectivity and the impact on household bills, particularly amongst low-income households, who may be the heaviest users of help, advice, and learning services. Technology and innovation are important, but we must not forget the basics. We need good walking, cycling, wheeling, and public transport services and infrastructure. We know from equality impact assessment work that there are barriers to opportunities from transport felt particularly by certain population groups, and providing good, sustainable transport solutions will go a long way to supporting these groups, as well as achieving our carbon goals. There are many opportunities we can build on, some of which we are already exploring, such as using technology to improve conditions for pedestrians and people on bikes at traffic signals and junctions. More shared mobility options to reduce the need to own a car or multiple cars. In addition to our city car club, do we need community car clubs, peer-to-peer car clubs, even shared car ownership? And decarbonising the movement of goods through last-mile delivery solutions and hubs will help reduce traffic levels and free up road space for sustainable ways to travel. We are also exploring new energy opportunities, such as hydrogen in some of our heavier fleet vehicles in the council. Could there be economies of scale in hydrogen that can eventually be used for public transport and movement of goods in the city? We must work towards more smart and integrated ticketing with more affordable public transport, and ideally within an integrated mobility as a service system. We are also looking at integrated platforms for all mobility-related data in the city, from our scoot data, through our pedestrian and cycle count data to CCTV data, to foster greater transparency, citizen engagement, and innovation. Thank you very much for listening today.